welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another Premier Division review show. I've Philip Warner with me today and Daz Harnish. What's the crack, boys?
Hi, Keith.
Daz
Hi, Keith. Hi, Philip.
Daz looks a little bit too happy there.
I'm always happy.
Speed Pats, but we'll get into that later. Guys, Keane isn't on today, but he'll be back soon, so don't worry about that. We'll start off, guys, at the Brandywell, actually. I want to save the other ones till later, if you don't mind. Derry City beat Waterford FC by 2-0. Now, this was Derry City's first home win of the season, which is incredible. I had a feeling they get it, actually, too. McLaughlin scored a goal for Derry on his first start for the club, so that was a good moment for him. And Thompson got the second goal. Philip, good win for Derry City. Probably Waterford's worst display, if I'm honest, under Mark Bircham from what I've seen. And Adam O'Reilly was a big loss there. They did have two new players starting, though. Max Hutchinson, interestingly, is the son of Don. I don't know if you remember Don Hutchison, Scottish international. Played for Liverpool and Everton. Yeah. And Forrest, the son of the owner, actually, Richard Forrest, came on as a sub in that match as well. But there have a few more signings lined up as well. How did you see this one, anyway?
I suppose, this is probably the one we'll talk about for the least amount of time, because as soon as Derry got ahead, the game just looked finished, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? I know what did nick a goal, but Derry just looked very, very comfortable, dominated the ball, and played some really, really good stuff. It's the first time, as you said, they've won this season in the Brandywell, but it's the first time that they played really, 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 really positive football in a sense that they were able to get the ball down, keep possession for long periods, and they ran Waterford into the ground. The last 5 or 10 minutes of the game, I was just looking at it and saying, geez, Waterford look out on their feet here, and I just thought that was down to how well Derry played. I think this week, Keith, we wouldn't have seen Patchen missing. I think this was a really nice game for them to start off with him going back to Dundalk. I suppose the next couple of weeks, I think they'll have a couple of tougher games, which will show whether they're really missing them. But look, credit to them. They got the job done there against Waterford, who are a bit of a dodgy side for them. So onwards and upwards, 3 points, and they'll be looking forward now to next week for another result.
Yeah, Daz, interestingly, we've talked about David Parkhouse here in the show before. He actually didn't start the game. He didn't even come on as a sub. He was an unused sub. We actually spoke, I think Philip might have mentioned that the best thing to do would be to take him out of the side. But what's interesting is, to be honest, if I was telling you now who the biggest flop of the season was, I have to be honest, and I'd have to say David Parkhouse. Well, what do you think of him so far with Derry City?
I'm shocked at how bad he's been this season. I actually think I said to you there last season, I'd love Parkhouse on balls. I thought he'd be someone that would...
I think anyone would have taken him.
Yeah, I thought he'd be someone who'd be reaching a new level this season, or trying to, get to another level to where he was the previous season, because he was scoring goals, and he was doing really well up front, and he was one of them strikers that's kind of up in the upper tiers of the league. He was going good, and I'm shocked. It's gone so bad for him this season, and to be left out of the team and to not even get on the field, that's showing where it's going, and the season's right off for him. He needs to get back out and nick a few goals, a handful of goals, end the season, try and do something this season. But look, they had to take him out of the team. There's no question about it. They had to try something else. And look, they got 2-0 win in their, the first home win of the season. Massive result for them. Brilliant result for them.
What do you make a junior returning there and loan till the end of the season?
Yeah, I think that was a very interesting sign for them, and it shows that they are trying to fill gaps in the team and bring a few bodies in. Very important that they did bring someone in, and it's a good opportunity for him to show what he can do again and get Derry up the table again. The 2-0 win, he'll do a job there, and it's great to see McLaughlin coming in there. He's a defender getting a goal too, which is great to see. And look, it was a massive result for Derry.
Yeah, absolutely. United Park, Drogheda United beat Finn Harps 3-1. I was there. Seymour after 8 minutes. Doyle 21, Markey 41, and Dan O'Reilly deflected strike on 80 minutes. Big win for Drogheda. I did tip them to win this though, because Finn Harps have been struggling. Obviously 2 wins down 15. Missing a couple of defenders as well. Webby, I think, was on the bench for this one, but they ended up with Barry McNamee. They finished the game with Barry McNamee at left back. Kind of says it all as well. They struggled badly in this game, to be honest with you. I know they scored a goal, but after that, Drogheda more or less took over. They completely controlled the second half in this match. Maybe a bit controversial, their equaliser. It seemed that was a player down injured, and Gary Deegan, instead of giving the ball back, decided to try and lob the goalkeeper, and nearly did. They won a corner. By the way, they scored from that corner. A little controversial, but my attitude personally is always like, you got to be ready for any situation. You can't just have a moan and say, look, they didn't give the ball back there after scoring. You have to be ready for any situation, in my opinion, and be prepared. But big wing for Drogheda, who welcomed James Brown back into the side, who was very good as usual. Markey looked sharp in midfield. Deacon controlled it. Doyle again on the score sheet. Philip?
What more can you say about Drogheda? Like, I know, look, let's be honest, Finn Harps were really poor in this game. Really poor. I think it's one of the worst Finn Harps performances I've seen in years. So, look, I was delighted. I've watched a good bit of this back. I've not finished the game, but I've watched a good bit back, and I have to agree with you. I thought Markey was excellent in midfield. Like, he's had a complete revival, like a renaissance at Drogheda, in my opinion. Like, it's incredible. Like, he was gone at Pats, in my opinion. I didn't think he'd ever sign and play for a League of Ireland club again, the way things are going. But what a turnaround he's having. Look, Drogheda were okay. This wasn't Drogheda's best performance of the season. They won the game comfortably, but it wasn't their strongest performance, that's for sure. As you said, there was controversy in the goal, but I didn't think that Drogheda wouldn't win the game after. Like, I'd seen the result before I'd watched the game, but looking back on it, you could kind of see, even with the way Finn Harps got their goal, you always knew that Drogheda were going to win the game, in my opinion. Like, I don't even think Drogheda had a 5-minute spell. Finn Harps had a 5-minute spell in the game where they were on top and really going at it. They just weren't there at all. They didn't turn up. And look, if we go back a couple of months, Tino, we said it's not really a thing that Finn Harps don't turn up, but it's kind of starting to happen a bit too much lately. And they're just sliding down the table. Like, they can't pay any money for points to get on the board. So really, really concerning for them. I think they'll be okay with the fact that they've had that really good spell at the start of the season. But, you know, I don't know, they have to play Waterford now next week, and all of a sudden that gap gets a little bit tighter, and I don't know, I think they'll do okay though, Keith. I think just the injuries as well that they've had, you know, they've been a bit unfortunate with certain decisions in games as well. So there's that to do with it. But look, credit to Drogheda, they done really, really well. And again, as you said, Mark Doyle on the score sheet, and the only way is up for Drogheda at the minute. And Dundalk losing as well this weekend, I'd say they'll take big confidence in the results going their way this week. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Darren, it's disappointing for Finn Harps, but there's a few players coming in actually this week, I think, Daz, as well, which they badly need, because Stephen Folan now is retired. Actually, he had to give up because of injury, which is a big blow. I didn't think it was that bad. Just thought he was injured, you know. I didn't think he was going to be forced into retirement. So that's pretty bad for them. Without Webster and that as well, their defence just looks leaky. I know Sadiqi's a good player, but everything is a combination for them at the back that usually works well. They've been missing midfielders as well. They can't really cope with that, can they?
Harps are getting it, they're getting it tough now. They're getting it hard. They always tend to get hard towards just the part of the season before the run into the season. They always tend to get a spell where just can't get any points on the board. As you said earlier, that spell of good form of the season is really keeping them where they are there now. If they had been playing like this at the start of the season with all these injuries, with or without these injuries, they'd be down at the bottom. Let's be real about it. They'd actually be down there. But I think, like Philip said, I think Harps will be okay. I think they'll stay up. They have that fight about them when it comes to the crunch at the end of the season, like we've seen in the previous two. Like, they will go at teams, and they will get in their faces, and they will get the points that they need to get towards the end of the season. But look, the performance against Drogheda just wasn't acceptable. Like, it was just so bad. Like, it just didn't look like the Finn Harps team that looked like at the start. Yes, they're missing bodies, they're missing players, but they need to show a bit of fight, a bit of passion too. Like, they can't be just staying back letting Drogheda come at them and at them and at them. And they're kind of just going through the motions, kind of sitting back and taking the loss and getting out another loss now, whereas Drogheda are going at them. Full credit to Drogheda. Doyle has been a smashing player for them. They need to keep him next season. They won't be able to replace a player like him with the form he's in. And if he can keep the form he has next season, sky's the limit for him. Drogheda are having a great season, and I'm delighted for them.
Yeah, they've got options, Philip, as well. Like, they've actually a strong enough squad if you look at them, like Lyons up front, but they also have Adeyemo, and they have Denny Corcoran, who I know gets injured a lot, but they still have him. They've 3 options up front. Many clubs don't, including Bows and Pats, by the way. They've got players who can come on and make an impact. So, that's brilliant for Drogheda, isn't it, really, going forward?
Yeah, Keith, to be honest with you, though, I think I don't think Tim Clancy would have thought that this would have happened. I know he would have thought he'd got good bodies in, but I don't think he would have thought he would have got as much as he has out of everyone. Because let's be honest, there's not really many players this season at Drogheda that you can say are having a poor season. Everyone is bang at it, and it's great to have so many options. And the fact that, I think we've seen it there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they picked up a couple of injuries, but they still got results on the board and they still got through games. Do you know what I mean? And that's credit to them. But I'm just thinking there, as Daz was talking, Keith, I tipped them for Europe last week in the review show, and with the results this weekend, do you know what I mean? I know they played Finn Harps, a very poor Finn Harps side, but looking back on. Exactly, yeah. They still have to beat them, and it's like Bows. You have to get results on the board. Do you know what I mean? To be in contention, and when it matters, it's slowly starting to go Bows' way. But for Drogheda's sake, they're still getting points on the board as well, and don't rule them out. I don't know. I can just see it happening. I don't know why, but the way they've been playing, everything about them. They've had one. I think they've had 1 or 2 games where they haven't turned up. But any other game that they've turned up to, that if they've lost, they've only got beaten by a goal, and some decisions have went against them as well. So they could be further up. So I'm just saying that don't rule them out with the squad they have.
Definitely. Now, Tell Stadium it finished Shamrock Rovers 3, Dundalk 1. Hooban with an early goal, Scales, Gannon. 2 good goals actually from Scales and Gannon, and Green getting one in the second half to give Rovers the win. It's funny, a couple of weeks ago, I think Pats had beaten Finn Harps, Philip, and you had announced the Pats were favourites to win the league. Sligo go and hammer Bows 4-0, and suddenly people would say Sligo are the favourites of the league. After this week's performances, now people would probably shift and say Shamrock Rovers in the space of 3 weeks are the favourites to win the league, because this was a very good display by Shamrock Rovers, I have to say. Even when I was watching it, even when Dundalk were 1-up, Rovers were kind of still the better side, if you get me. They were creating opportunities. Gaffney had a few. They just looked more cohesive. They opened up, as you said they would, actually, in the preview show. You had a feeling that would happen, that Dundalk would allow them as such to do that. Good performance by Rovers, and they're back top of the league now again.
the feeling in my stomach, Keith, I can't describe it. It's unreal. Oh man, I'm telling you, I was buzzing. I'll tell you now, when the full-time whistle went, I skipped around the house for the rest of the evening. I was just in such good form. Everything, it was a 10 out of 10 performance, Keith. I know we can see that the goal Tell made a mistake, but even after when I think it was Hooban had the header, when Mana saved that, and the way Rovers started the game, 5 minutes after that header, I thought we were going to win the game. I genuinely did, even though we were 1-0 down. Just played exceptionally well, in midfield. As I said about Gary O'Neill, I won't yap on too much about him because he was brilliant. That was all I need to say about him. Finn though, Ronan Finn, I look back on the performance, Keith, I was very, very impressed with Ronan Finn. I couldn't believe he wasn't really the creator of everything that Rovers done, but he just caused murder for Dundalk, and they couldn't cope with his movement. The goals as well, Keith. All the goals were absolutely brilliant. I thought Hooban's finish was brilliant as well. It was such a clever finish. Looks like he's going one side and drags it back. And as a goalkeeper, I can't stand when a centre forward does that, because you feel like a muppet. And it was a brilliant finish from him. But I'll tell you one thing though, Keith. I have no idea how that video from the Dundalk fan hasn't went viral. So funny. Who was that? What's that lad's name again?
That's Fikra Taff, yeah.
Jesus brilliant. Christ, lads. If you're watching this and you haven't seen it, go check out the fan reactions.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've never I was delighted with the result, but I tell you, when I was saying that, man, it just made me weekend. It made me weekend.
It was a good one, I have to say.
It was brilliant. And then, well, look, I suppose, Keith, the other side for it is for Dundalk. They came into the game playing really, really good football over the past couple of weeks and getting results on the board. So I kind of think this adds more to the Rovers' win. But I think Dundalk just caught us at the wrong time, in terms of we were looking for a reaction for the past couple of weeks, and I think it was kind of brewing in the camp, as I said previously. So, look, delighted with the result. I didn't think it would be as comfortable as it was. As I said, Rovers utterly dominated the game, and we'll be just looking to bring this into Europe now next week and hopefully beyond. And as you said, we're looking favourites for the title again, but look, it'll probably change next week again, so I won't jump ahead too early. So, delighted.
Is that a bit of a kick in the teeth for Dundalk, Daz, a little bit, or a comeback down to earth, so to speak, result, I suppose, for them?
Look, I'm going to slam Dundalk here, just in general. They're a disgrace to their fans. They are, I think it's 4 points off 8th place in the league. That's a disgrace. The amount of money they have, the individual players they have, the international players they have, and they're like nearly at 8. It's a disgrace. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. The whole way down, there should be ashamed of themselves. It's a disgrace. And the fact too that they're bored. I know there's issues with the fans and the chairman and what have you, but leaving it so long to appoint manager and stuff like that, it's just not acceptable. It's just not on. It's a disgrace, and they should be really ashamed of themselves. And if I was a fan of Dundalk, I'd be going mad. I can't stand it. It's a disgrace. The amount of money they have and where they are, and don't let me start Dundalk.
So they're not going to qualify for Europe, Daz?
No, they won't qualify for Europe, and I can see changes happening again. Somewhere they'll ship players be shipping in and out, and they might even qualify for Europe next year. It could be the change of Dundalk. They could be going back down to mid-table, and who knows? They could be back down where, I wouldn't say where they belong, but they could be right back down there again. Look, they're a disgrace. I can't believe where they are this season. The players they brought in, they're not used to the league. I know that, but I would have been saying 4th at the very, very worst. I tipped Dundalk winner / second. And look where they are. I still can't get over it. I look at them and gobsmacked still about it. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, they're actually embarrassing a lot of people because I can imagine if I tipped them to finish 7th at the start of the season, the flack you'd get or whatever. Now, they may finish above that eventually, let's be honest, but it's just a case of their players, like, and the quality might shine through, but I think it's very unlikely that they actually qualify for Europe. Now, Delhi Park are going to be happier here now, as Bohemians beat St. Patrick's Athletic 3-2. Yeah, I mean, Georgie Kelly scored right in half-time against his former club to give them the lead. I think that's his 13th of the season. Is that right, Daz? Or is he on 12? 12 to the season. Lyons OG in 53. To be fair, there wasn't much you could do about it. Burns as well, actually. It was a good shot to hit the post. He was unlucky to hit the post. And then Lyons was unlucky to knock it into the net. Wilson with a smashing free kick at 73. Burt on 81 with a good goal in the counter. McClelland actually got a very good goal as well to make it 3-2. But a lot of incidents in this game, I suppose. First of all, I'll start with Daz. First of all, you've the 2... red cards. I tell you what, I'll give my opinion first as the Pats man here as well. I thought they were fair. I thought the second yellow for Desmond, nothing dirty, just gets caught out. It's a yellow all day, and you get punished severely because Wilson scores the free kick. I'm a little bit more annoyed, I have to say, in Birmingham's red card because, again, the right decision, but he picked up a yellow maybe 5 or 6 minutes before that. He'd no intention of going for the ball. He'd one thing in his mind, take out the Bulls player. He was walking off before the second yellow was dished out, to be fair. He knew what he was doing. What annoyed me about that was the fact that Ian Birmingham isn't a young player. He's vastly experienced. Pats of Griffin out injured. They've no left back next week now. I mean, use your brain. I'm sorry, but
he's left Pats in a very vulnerable position now.
He's left them in a very vulnerable position next week. At this minute in time, they've only 2 defenders available. Maybe Mountney will be available, hopefully, but they've only 2 available. But I just thought, from an experienced guy, if that was a young player, to be saying, he lacks experience. But very frustrating, very frustrating. As for the game itself, Daz, I do think Bows generally were the better side and deserved to win the game. I suppose one question I will ask, Talbot spills a shot from Sam Bone. Is that over the line?
No. No, look, it didn't look over the line to me.
I will say, though, we didn't see a replay, bizarrely enough. I'll be honest, I have no clue. I can't tell you for sure if it's over or not. I really don't.
I don't think it was over. I think Talbot got back and just got it back out. I think it was any more than even half a second more, it was over the line. But the referee wasn't really in the best position either to actually view it, to give the goal.
That's where you need your linesman, I guess. But yeah.
You do, and the linesman obviously didn't stick his flag up to say, look, that's in, and the referee didn't really go, he just said, what, play on?
Yeah, I will say, if you don't think it's over the line, then you just can't give it, like, to be fair. You know, and at that point of the game as well, Pats, there was 1-0, wasn't it, at that point? It was 1-0 at that point. So Pats equalised a couple of minutes later, actually, anyway. I don't think it had a huge bearing on the game. Like, if they score that, Burns doesn't run through and Lyons doesn't knock the ball in the back of the net.
That's it. But if you look at Bo's body language, when I kind of went in, the players even looked a bit unsure. It was just Talbot. He's the one that's only going to really know. He made balls of it, though. Let's be honest. He did make a balls of it, though. He did. And he was having a good game before that. You know, he was punching things. He was commanding his area. He was getting the ball. He was starting attacks. He was having a good game. But look, Talbot's, you know, he's a smashing keeper, but he is capable of a mistake. And I hate to say it. Like, he is. He has a mistake in him at times. And he does do the odd thing that can cost you a goal, but he can also come up with that save that can get you 3 points. You know, he's one of them types of keepers, but I think he's been a good performer for both this season in general. And, you know, with that innocent, look, it's going to happen every now and again. And luckily we got away with it. That was another week now we mightn't have got away with it. No, luck comes in both ways, especially, you know, you look back at the Rovers game, Rovers might have got the better hand from the referee that time. We didn't. And then in that match there, you know, we got away with that goal. If it was in, if it wasn't in, I don't think it was in. But it could have been in, but we got away with it anyway and got 3 points, so I'm happy.
Performance itself, Daz. I did think Bowles were the better side, deserved to win the game. Overall, your thoughts? I mean, again, they played some free-flowing football in the game. I thought Pats lost their discipline. I thought that Bowles can be a little bit soft as well, and kind of get at them. But I think Pats took that to another level, to be honest with you. And you know, you need to be hard and let them know you're there, but there's no point making stupid tackles and pulling players back and things like that. And I do think Bowles were more level-headed on the day and actually deserved to win as a result.
I still think it's a bit concerning that we conceded 2 more goals again. Like, we got the win, scored 3 goals.
One with 9 men actually passed the score.
1 with 9 men, and he was completely on his own when he got that. Now, it was a great hit. It was a fantastic hit and a great goal. Bottom corner, way out of the box, smashing goal. He shouldn't have really been on his own. Someone should have seen, man, coming in here now, and should have been alert to it more, in my opinion. You can see with 9 players, you know, playing against you, no, it's not good, like, you know. And
just imagine the score was 2-1.
That's it, like, you know, that's it. Like, it would have been an laughing stock then, realistically, like, you know. But overall, I think, you know, it took Bows 20 minutes, I think, to get going, and it could have been a different game if George Kelly didn't get that goal on a stroke at half time. You know, if Pats could have came back out and ran riot. We know what they're capable of, especially this season. We know what they can do. But George Kelly, you know, he's the man at the minute for Bows, and in general, he got the goal, a lovely, low-driven shot, and then he was alert and lively up front for the whole game. I thought he had a great game again. Young Mullins came on. He's only 16. You know, he could have set something up in the second half. He's very young, but interesting that Keith Long still bringing on 16-year-olds ahead of Bastian Heary, which is another talking point, I think, as well. He's bringing on Bastian Heary in the 88th, 89th minutes recently. You know, he's not really giving him a run out. I think he could be gone in the next few weeks. Wilson's free kick, smashing, brilliant, inch perfect in the top corner. He's capable of it, and he's getting better and better, and he's having a fantastic season. I actually thought Lee Burt's goal was very good. I thought he was going to lose it when he was running in, but luckily he got the goal. It was a lovely shot. It was mashed into the back of the net. Look, I'm delighted with it, but as I said, big concern we could see the 2 goals still, but smashing game, and it was a really, really good game.
Philip, good response, I suppose, from Bohemians after the 4-0 defeat against Sligo. Overall, how did you see the game?
I thought it was a really good game as well, as Dad said. I think from my perspective of it, though, I think Bowes kind of got away with one in a sense with how the decisions went against Pats. I just think that although the stupidity in Birmingham's one,
correct decisions though, in your view, yeah.
Like if both of the second ones, if you don't get the yellow, you're kind of like, right, well, that's fair enough. Like, do you know what I mean? But when you give the yellow card, it's one of those where I suppose Birmingham, I thought was stupid, as you said, like, but like you give the referee an excuse, don't you? I suppose in all cases there with all the yellows. So like, do you know what I mean?
Did give him an excuse there.
Yeah. Look, I suppose the thing I think of it is that regardless of the players being sent off, I just think Pats just didn't look like they were themselves at all on the night, even before the cards. Like, so I never thought Pats would win the game, to be honest with you, whilst watching it. Like, you know, I know that sounds stupid because I did know the result. Like when I seen the game, I've not finished watching. I've got another.
Never looked really in control of the game at any point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to get across. Sorry, Keith. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to get across. Look, I have to disagree with Daz about Talbot though, Keith, because that's like although he did keep a clean sheet against Rovers. If you go back to that game, he made a mistake in that game when he parried the ball out into the penalty area as well, even though Rovers didn't score from it. That's 3 mistakes in the last 4 weeks. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and do you know what I mean? I just don't think he's a good goalkeeper, being completely honest with you. You know, fair enough. He can pull out a fantastic, wonderful save, but like the likes of Abidi can do that as well, and we all see what he's capable of. Do you know what I mean? He's not really the best goalkeeper, even though he did have a good game the other night. I think there's much better goalkeepers in the league than him, and I'm surprised that Keith Long hasn't like changed, to be honest with you, because he is consistently making mistakes over the past month. Whether you get punished for them or punished altogether, but like, if your goalkeeper's making mistakes, you need to rectify that, because in other games you will get found out. And look, I suppose it's a blessing in disguise that Pats had the 2 players sent off, because I just thought maybe the last 10, 15 minutes, if they didn't have those players sent off, I think Pats probably would have really went for it, and I think they might have been a different side. Do you know what I mean? So, look, you can only give credit to both as well. Do you know what I mean? They can only beat what's in front of them, and if what's in front of you has 2 players sent off, that's not your fault. So, Georgie Kelly again, I've ran out of superlatives from him, to be honest with you. I hate saying it, but he's an unbelievable centre forward this season. Anyways, he's a different calibre altogether, completely. Too good for the division, in my opinion. Just the way he does everything. He doesn't, like, the thing with Kelly is, I don't know if Daz will agree with me, he doesn't need to have 3 or 4 chances in a game. He can have 1 chance, bang, that's it, he wins the game. And that's what you need. Like, so
even the goal he got was very reactive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nearly like it was just in the minute of the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was just he wasn't doing too much up till then. Like, do you know what I mean? He was in the game. Don't get me wrong, but like, he didn't have too much before, and that's the sign of a really good striker. But I suppose the thing for Bo's kind of perspective is, I need to keep him doing that, because we've seen before in the league he can go very, very cold. Do you know what I mean? And like the likes of Pat's seen it, he just wasn't at it there. And I suppose just keeping it going for him, because he is, as we've seen over the past few weeks in particular, the quality he has is exceptional. He's probably the best striker in the league at the moment. And do you know what I mean? You've got a couple of boys up and Drogheda to challenge him for that. I didn't think they'd ever say that, but no, look, they were brilliant on the night. When it came to it, they got the result, and like, you can only say bring it into next week now. And look, another thing I suppose I want to say about Bows is they've got that game coming up in the Aviva. Obviously, bitter rivals, hate them, but I'm going to be so happy to see 5,000 fans at a football game in League of Ireland.
6,000.
There you go, even better for a Bows perspective. And look, all the best to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's great to see clubs in Europe, but even the fact that there's going to be 6,000 fans at a game is just mind blowing. So yeah, onwards and upwards for Bows. Not too far up, but hopefully they'll get a couple of results in Europe now, and they'll do the league proud.
Absolutely. We'll finish up with Longford Town, Sligo. Rovers finished Longford 0, Sligo 1. Gibson a penalty after 25. Now, you'd be forgiven if you looked at the result for thinking this was a bad game. A penalty, you know what I mean? But there was so many chances in this game. Both teams, Romeo Parks obviously done well to win the penalty, but he had another chance 1-on-1 where he rattled the crossbar, heavy touch. They had a number of other chances as well. Longford again, they played well. Like, what can you say? They performed well in this football match. Dobbs had a number of chances. Robinson had a chance. McNicholas came on for the injured McGinty and actually did well, made some good saves. Came off his line, headed one off the line before Longford could get in. Dara Doyle made changes at half time, brought on a few more forwards like Manley and Connor Davis, and that, and really went for it. Just can't put the ball in the back of the net. But what can you say, Daz? Like, it was a really good performance from Longford and a great result from Sligo in the circumstances, actually.
I feel so sorry for Longford this season. You know, they look like the whipping boys, but they're really not. Like you said, there's been games where they've had so many chances. they just can't score. They just can't put it in the back of the net, or they do when they lose the game because they can't defend well enough for the last minute. They do play good football. They try and keep it on the ground when they can. They go long when they have to. Derry's not afraid to make a decision or a change when he has to, unlike Keith Long, who didn't bring any subs to the all in a row the other night. But look, it's terrible where Longford are, and look, I would like them to stay up, but it's looking unlikely now, and it looked like a straightforward win for Sligo. But Longford did give them a bit of trouble. They made them actually play it for the game. You know, if you're looking at this on paper, you were thinking 3 or 4-0 Sligo win now, especially after the win against Bohs recently. You'd be thinking they should be getting a handful of goals here now. But Longford put it up to them, and Longford, our team, got stuck in, and they're a team. They're not individuals. They're a team. They work hard for each other, and a team that works hard for each other in a team situation is always hard to beat. So my heart goes out to Longford, and I hope they stay up. But it's looking unlikely now.
That's the thing, Philip. Even though they're struggling points-wise, like, you have to give them serious credit because they're not giving up. If they can keep that going till the end of the season, no matter what happens, at least they can say, well, look, we gave it our best shot.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose you kind of, you were giving you a little brief analysis of it there. You kind of took most of my points. I was saying to yourself, geez, thank God he went to Daz there because I didn't know what to say. But I've actually watched it back, Keith. I did watch it back. I have to say, like, Longford were really in this game. And I have to say as well, from a Sligo perspective, they really went for it, which was really good to see, because I remember watching this game the last time around in the City Collins Stadium. It was a very close game as well. Pretty sure it was 1-0 as well, if I can remember.
But a completely different game. It was,
yeah,
there wasn't
exactly.
many chances. It was,
Yeah, literally. Have you got my script here or something? Taking all what I'm saying?
I can read your mind.
That's it. Yeah, I remember the game well because I watched it. I think it was before Rovers were playing Dundalk as well, and it was a big game, anyways, that Rovers had. But I remember watching it before, and like Longford were in that game as well as this one, but there was just so many chances for Sligo. I was shocked actually in that sense when it came to I'm talking about this game now, obviously, with how many chances there was in the game, because Longford usually are a side that, although like they don't win many games, they don't tend to concede a lot of chances, even though they do lose. So I was surprised with how many chances that there was for Sligo, and they could have easily won this game 6 or 7, like the way it was at one stage. But as you said about Dobbs, though, he was very impressive. I thought I was delighted with how he put in a good shift, and Robinson, as you said, came close as well a couple of times, a couple of shots as well that probably were a bit unfortunate. So, look,
an Davis strike where he tried to lob the keeper. That would have been savage if that went in. That was close.
That would have been quality, yeah. And like, that's what we're saying, Keith. Longford were smack bang in this game, and it was actually surprisingly one of the more entertaining games of the weekend, which I didn't think was going to be the case. I thought it was going to be entertaining. It was going to be the fact that Sligo were going to steamroll them, and it's going to be plenty of goals, good football on display. There was good football on display, but I just think that the way the game was set up was a really, really good contest for both sides. But look, it doesn't matter. It's a results game. And again, Longford have come up the short end of the stick. And again, we've discussed it, Keith. They can only take it game by game. And it's unfortunate that they keep seeming to lose. I do think they will get one in the couple of weeks coming. They've got a couple of difficult games coming up, but I just think they've been putting in too many good performances. And as you said before, Keith, not every team will lose every week in the season. There's no doubt about it. And I just think that they're overdue one now at this stage with the way they've been performing and the chances they've been creating. It'd be nice to see Manley starting to get a few as well. Like, so keep the fingers crossed for him, because he is a good player. I think, as I said before, Keith, this has probably come a bit too soon for Longford. And I think we're seeing that really, really through the past couple of weeks with results. So, yeah, difficult game, difficult result for them to take, but they can only look forward to next week. And as I said previously, take it game by game, Keith.
As it looks like Sligo have come through their blip, hasn't it?
Sure does. Look, they've been playing really good this season, and they're definitely one of the surprising teams of the season to be right up there and challenging everyone and getting some fantastic results along the way. And like I said, spanking balls, it's not really over that. I couldn't believe how bad we were then, and Sligo were just great. And Gibson, he's playing phenomenal this season. He's a real standout talent. He's a really exceptional player for Sligo. He's a top talent, and I think Sligo, they're going to go all the way. They're going to finish up there or thereabouts this season, and as you said there earlier, like every week it's a new team we're tipping for the league. And if Sligo can keep going now, keep a run going, it'd be interesting to see where they'll finish up. They've got, they've played everyone this season so far, but they haven't really had that many bad games or poor performances, which is very good to see for them. They've been consistent enough. And look, if they go back on a run again, as I said, I think they'll finish right up there this season. And it's refreshing to see a team like Sligo doing well, a really good fan-ran club and really good people down there doing some really good things. So look, I'm delighted for Sligo and the fact that they're doing so well, and it's great to see.
Guys, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on, lads. Appreciate that. Brilliant stuff.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.